You know I love Trump, but I think he stepped on his own you-know-what here. 6:05. Happy Halloween. Glad you're joining us on KCMO 95.7 FM. We are streaming on a Red Friday on the KCMO Talk Radio app. So yesterday was a great day for Republicans. I know we're a month into the shutdown, and you would think, how is that possible? Yesterday, you had airline CEOs like Scott Kirby from United, the Delta CEO, you had the Teamsters president, all say, with Republicans standing behind them at the White House, Democrats end the shutdown. Go along with the continuing resolution that keeps the government open at the same spending levels, and then debate all the health care stuff once the government's opened up again. People are hurting. They're not getting paychecks. That's what you've got to do. And it was a great day. That should be the topic today. Instead, I went to sleep. You might have went to sleep. And I wake up at 4 a.m. and I'm like, no! Kate's like, why are you yelling? It's 4 in the morning. Well, the president of the United States late last night called on a Truth Social post for the Republicans to go nuclear. No, not that kind of nuclear. He means the nuclear option. He says it is now time for Republicans to play their trump card and go for what is called the nuclear option. Get rid of the filibuster and get rid of it now, he writes here. What does that mean? What that means is he wants the Senate to go from a 60-vote threshold to pass this clean continuing resolution bill, just once again, the bill to keep the government, or get the government at this point, back open, and go down to a simple majority of 51 votes. Republicans right now they're at about 55 votes, 56 votes, depending on the day. They've got 53 members of the Senate. They need to get to 60 votes. They've got to get a few Democrats to cross the aisle, and they just can't do it. So I believe this is what the Democrats want. I think they want Republicans to go, as Trump called it, nuclear. They want him to blow up the filibuster. They want him to then go to 51 votes instead of 60. And the reason they want that is because it plays into their no king charade from a couple of weeks ago. They call this guy a king, but apparently he can't open the government on his own, right? I mean, we all know that. We're paying attention. You're paying attention. But for the masses who don't pay attention, this is going to be potentially a great way for them to be like, yes, there he is, the king. And they believe it will help them in the midterms coming up next year. They are trying to trap Trump into going nuclear, as he put it, and to dropping the filibuster. This is what they want. And instead of talking about how yesterday the airline CEOs, who are not political people, are calling for the Democrats to end the shutdown, what's the headline all over cable news and elsewhere this morning? Here is CNN. Trump calls for end of Senate filibuster to break funding stalemate. Trump urges GOP to scrap filibuster to end shutdown. I mean, they are blasting this thing all over the internet and all over their television stations this morning because this is what they want. Don't give them what they want. I understand the appeal of saying, you know what, screw it. We've got to do the job here. But then you've got a year of them saying, oh, look at what these guys did to the filibuster. They got rid of the filibuster. They're trying to act like kings. They want even more control of your life. This is the only off-ramp the Democrats have that actually give them a leg to stand on. And I wouldn't do it. I would not come near this thing if I was Trump or the Republicans. I get why he's frustrated. I mean, this is ridiculous. Republicans have voted for clean CRs when Democrats are in power, and Democrats have done it previously when Republicans have been in power. I get why he's pissed. But this is not the way forward, because this will be used against you, and then they might actually have a leg to stand on with the whole king thing. Now, what's going on back here locally? Sharice Davids, Kansas Congresswoman, District 3, has put out this video. She put it out yesterday, and now that we have people who are once again not getting paid, air traffic controllers and things like that, here's what your Kansas Congresswoman had to say about it.
This is a real pay stub that an air traffic controller in Kansas texted me. $0. These men and women keep our skies safe every single day. They guide thousands of flights, protect millions of passengers, and right now, they're doing it without pay. They're overworked, understaffed, and now they're being asked to do it for free, all because politicians in Washington can't be adults and come to the negotiating table. That's unacceptable. I'm fighting to reopen the government and make sure that every worker gets the paycheck that they've earned, because our safety and their livelihoods are on the line.
I'm so sick of this from Sharice Davids. I really am. I'm sick of it. And nobody else in Kansas City media. I get it. She's not going to come on the show. I think Mark asked her to come on the show. What was that, a couple of weeks back? You might have reached out to him and said, hey, could they come on the show?
Yep.
Okay. Usually I book the guests, but Mark's got the relationship there from when he used to work at another radio station, and they used to fluff Sharice Davids, so he's got the tie in there. But did you know that Sharice Davids voted against the continuing resolution to keep the government open last month?
You don't say.
Yeah.
What a crock, in my opinion.
I know.
Every Republican voted to open the government.
Yep.
Every Democrat voted to keep it closed.
Yes. A couple voted for it, Fetterman and like one other, but yes, the majority obviously did not. And I've got to listen to these videos every day from Sharice Davids, which at least this video didn't have, 7-8 jump cuts in 36 seconds. I literally think that her staff, because I put them on blast on social media the other day, when she had 8 jump cuts in a 58-second clip. That's where you see and notice clips on social media that are obviously spliced together. She had 8 jump cuts in 58 seconds. It went viral on my X page at Pete Mundo. And I don't think it's a coincidence that this 36-second clip I just played didn't have any jump cuts in it. I think they're like, whoa, he got us there. But neither here nor there, Sharice Davids did not open or did not vote to keep the government open last month when it passed the House. It passed the House because of Republicans. And now she's doing this, and she's been doing it for 2 weeks. And she's done some local media, and not a single local TV reporter has put the screws to her on this deal and say, you're doing this like ride the fence, the politicians have to come together, the people are getting hurt. You voted against the same thing that you're telling people to basically vote for. Sharice Davids did not vote to keep the government open. She voted against keeping the government open. And now she gets to put out these little videos on social media. Oh, the politicians need to come together, put the American people first. You literally did not do that 6 weeks ago. You didn't vote for this bill. So if Sharice Davids was in the Senate, would you vote for it or not? And if you wouldn't vote for it, then you know what? That tells us exactly what we need to know about where you're actually at on this piece of legislation. So this thing is, I believe, right now, if we're calling it like a sports event, I think we're in the second half, and Republicans are starting to pull away. They're starting to lead, win the game, however you want to phrase it. But don't make a dumb coaching decision here, okay? If you're Trump, don't make the dumb coaching decision on this thing. Don't do it. Don't call for the end of the filibuster. Don't try to go down that road. Don't try to pressure Republicans to lowering the vote threshold in the Senate from 60 to 51. Don't do it. You're winning. And I have the evidence that you are winning. Coming up on KCMO, we'll get to your calls as well. I mean, I want to hear from you early on a Friday morning at 913-408-7957. We can have the conversation with you. Do you end the filibuster like Trump called for last night, or do you say no? The pressure's building on him. Let's ride. 913-408-7957. Pete Mundo on a Friday morning on KCMO 95.7 FM.
An eerie sight for my
Well, a happy Halloween Friday to you. Thanks for being here. It's also a Red Friday on KCMO. It's also the end of the month of October, and the government is still shut down. And yesterday should have been all about an amazing win for the GOP. You had airline CEOs come out and call on Democrats to pass the continuing resolution. The clean continuing resolution, as it's called. Scott Kirby, United Airlines CEO, standing alongside all the Republican leadership, saying this.
Start by really thanking the professionals, the air traffic controllers, folks at the TSA, also the FAA, the people in management. They're working hard. They are keeping the skies safe. They've minimized delays. Fewer than 2% of flights have been delayed so far because of air traffic control shortages. So they've done a great job. But it's putting stress on people. It's not fair to those people. It's also putting stress on the economy. The first couple of weeks this had no impact on the economy, but as every day goes by, the impacts start to grow. And airlines are a pretty good real-time indicator of the economy, and we start to see still minor, but steep booking impact, and you see that happening in the economy. We put the whole economy at risk. And so it's been 30 days, and while I don't have a position on which partisan side and how things should be settled with healthcare, it has been 30 days. I also think it is time to pass a clean CR, use that as the opportunity to get into a room behind closed doors and negotiate hard on the real and substantive issues that the American people want our politicians on both sides of the aisle to solve. But let's get a clean CR and get that negotiation done behind closed doors without the pressure and without putting the American workers in.
When he says we want a clean CR, that's United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby. He's saying pass what the Republicans are trying to pass. He doesn't want to say that because he doesn't want to seem hyper-partisan, and he even hedged himself there and was like, listen, I'm not a political guy. But when he says pass a clean continuing resolution, that means pass what the Republicans have been trying to pass for a month. That's what he's saying. He's in a somewhat non-political way saying pass what is on the table, Democrats. And that should be the story coming out of yesterday. But then late at night, last night, I guess Trump, his body clock is still thrown off from that trip overseas to Asia. He's putting on Truth Social, blow it up, end the filibuster, go to 51 votes. Now, someone just asked on the text line, it's a good question. Pete, didn't Harry Reid end the filibuster? Harry Reid, the former Democrat majority leader in the Senate, did end the filibuster during the Obama years for judicial nominees, for judges. He did end it, but it was only for judges, not in situations like this. And then Republicans used that against him to get 3 people on the Supreme Court during Trump's first term. And McConnell said to Harry Reid all those years ago, be careful what you wish for ending this filibuster, and it came back to bite him. And that's why I'm not a fan of blowing it up right now on something like this, especially when we're talking about a continuing resolution that's only good for like another 3-4 weeks at this point. I mean, if you're gonna go big or go home, at least do it on something that is like really large. That if the Democrats use it against you going forward, you can say, at least I got X out of it. You're not even getting anything out of it if you end it here. Steven's in Johnson County. What's up, Steven?
Well, how's it going, Doc? I'm just with Sharice Davis. I think the people keep voting the same way they vote because they only hear one side of the story. And the advantage that a lot of people have is they have social media. And when people like me and you put that stuff out there, when you was talking about she voted to shut the government down, a lot of people probably don't know that. I was meeting with a group of ministers the other day, and I was telling them that. I said, you all vote against your own interests and wonder why you don't have anything. So I think that we have to take the time to put her up there, put the information out there on social media to make sure people know about it that don't listen to the radio. That's all I want to say.
Well, we do our best, and obviously you can follow me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram at Pete Mundo and X at Pete Mundo, and the KCMO Talk Radio pages, follow those as well. But, you only can reach so far. People can stay in their own little bubble when it comes to social media.
At least Steven's out there doing the work, too. It takes everybody. We all got to do it, right?
Yeah,
on
that's
your
a good
own
point.
Social medias and whatever.
Absolutely, John. That's right. Oscar's in Gower. What's up, Oscar?
Yes. I think getting rid of the filibuster is one of the worst ideas President Trump had, simply because, as you said earlier, the Supreme Court, the judicial filibuster was broken, and we got 3 Supreme Court justices through, which is good for our Republican side. They passed the ACA with no Republican support, and they did it on a trick of reconciliation.
Mm-hmm.
Think what will happen when they try to push things through with no Republican support and 51 Democrats in control of the Senate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if and when they get control, and there will be a time in our lives, Oscar, I don't know how old you are, but I expect there to be a time in my life where it happens where they've got complete control, and they will, go to 51 votes, and they will do it for insane legislation. we're going to regret this if they go down this road this time. You're right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Oscar. I appreciate you, man. Have a great weekend. I mean, that's where I'm at. And they may do it anyway, right? I mean, I hear that on the text line. I hear that on social media. Hey, Pete, when Democrats get control, they're going to get rid of the filibuster anyway. Maybe. Now, the good thing is the Senate map over the next couple of cycles cuts pretty favorably for the Republicans. But I'm not going to sit here and hand it to them on a silver platter.
I'm with you there. We'll say, if you think that they'll do it when they get a chance, think about Roe v. Wade. There have been a bunch of things that they like to rail against that they leave alone so they can use it as a leverage or a wedge.
That's a good point. They've used these things as basically driving out the base, to your point. You're right about that, John. Libby's in Waldo. You're on KCMO. Libby, good morning.
Oh, Pete. Okay, I was telling John, I have a colorful resolution or a solution to all this crap. Okay. Anybody who has gotten this job via our vote, they're not doing their job. And so I would say do as I have seen done in corporate banking. I've seen it in private sectors. I have seen it in the federal government labor and the state. Fire them. And just have two managers with their little pink bows and blue bows walk up to a table and say, you're fired. You have 15 minutes to pack up your things. We'll shut your computer down.
Who do you want to get fired? Who do you want to get fired?
The people who are not cooperating. And with the Democrats and the Republicans, by the way. I'm not suggesting just the Democrats. I'm talking about the people who are not doing their job.
So you mean vote them out of office?
And whoever would have won the election, had those people not won, invite them in and say, hey, come on in and you're being hired because we need for you to go along and get this thing passed, get the government open.
Okay, so you're saying like air traffic controllers who aren't doing their jobs?
No. I'm talking about the Democrats in power.
Okay, well, no. You can't. Okay, so you're saying kick them out of office when they're up for re-election.
Kick them out of office even right now.
Well, you can't do. What do you mean? How's that work?
Okay, Pete, do whatever you do to them, whatever gets done to us out here when we're working and we're not doing our jobs. You think that if you weren't doing your job right now,
I get it. I understand it, Libby, and you know I love you, but I'm struggling on how the way you fire a politician is by to kick them out of office. That's how you do it. I mean, I guess. You could go through a recall process like Frank White. I don't know what that looks like for a member of Congress, but I don't know what else to do. You got to hold them accountable.
I get it, but we got to do something, even if it looks like.
Well, no. Here's what I'm up against it, Libby. I'm up against it here, but got to keep pressuring them to do the right thing right now. That is what it's all about. News in 2 minutes coming up. Is Kansas City a dangerous place to trick or treat? We have the data next. Help me with this. One study says Kansas City will be one of the five most dangerous places to go trick-or-treating this year. The jokes write themselves sometimes, but let's get further into the data before we make any jokes about this. Action Network reviewed FBI crime reports, sex offender databases, and fatality analysis reporting systems. Kansas City got poor marks not just for violent crime, but for pedestrian safety. The KC Metro has the second highest number of deaths per 100,000 residents, only behind Columbus, Ohio. For the second straight year, the Prospect Business Association is encouraging families to forego traditional door-to-door trick-or-treating on Halloween and come to a trunk or treat. You know, what a shame. What a shame that the Prospect Business Association is telling kids to not go door to door and trick or treat. Listen, I understand that not every neighborhood is the safest. I get it. We get kids in our neighborhood who aren't in the neighborhood, and I'm totally fine with that. I think it's great. Our neighborhood goes nuts. I mean, there's a lot of people that come in, they park their cars. The houses, aren't that far apart, but people are pretty generous, so it's like a nice combination, right? Right. It's not like we're all sitting on acre lots, but people are also very good when it comes to giving out nice treats. So we've got this nice blend of a community and a neighborhood that is generous with its giving, and you can hit a lot of homes in a pretty short period of time. And it's pretty safe to walk around our neighborhood as well. So we get a lot of action from kids outside the neighborhood, which I think is great. But the fact that you've got the Prospect Business Association basically saying to families, hey, don't go door to door with your kids. What does that tell you? My goodness. I just feel bad for the kids, John.
Yeah, it's nothing new, I guess, but I didn't know if they were hosting something. Was that the point?
Well,
to come down there?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's, I can understand that sort of.
It says
we're
here,
lucky in Kansas City, I think, because I don't know that it's like this nationwide. I know a place where I'm going that's similar to yours, and there are neighborhoods where it's 1970s school, old school trick-or-treat,
So you're trick-or-treating tonight, John? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
How about that? What are you going as?
I have this skeleton T-shirt, top hat and stuff, making a minimal effort, but I do have something to wear.
I thought you were going to wear your No Kings protest outfit with the fishnet cut-off tee, but no.
It's down at the cleaner right
now. Yeah, so last year, the Prospect Business Association had an event with 2,000 kids. This year, they've stockpiled enough candy with plans for 3,000. They bring in lighting. They work with KCPD to close off Linwood Boulevard between Prospect and Brooklyn. The event runs from 5:30 to 8 p.m. So, it's great that they're doing this. I still think it's sad that there are certain neighborhoods where kids just can't go door to door.
Well, even in my own neighborhood, I can stay there all night. I might have 2 kids,
Really?
I'm just hoping a 17-year-old with no costume comes up so he can take the rest of the candy, Yeah, it's kind of weird. There are pockets, I guess, in Grandview, so my street doesn't get hit that much, but there aren't that many kids that live on the 2 or 3 blocks around me. It's a little bit of an older neighborhood, I would say. So I think that's part of it.
Well, then I will give credit to the Prospect Business Association for doing this. If they can get 3,000 kids out in the urban core of Kansas City to trick-or-treat, I think that's great from a safety perspective. I still feel for the kids because one of my great memories, yesterday during the Ask Mundo Anything segment, I think it was Victor in Parkville said, what is your favorite memory before the age of 12? And I gave him 2 answers, going to sporting events with, my dad and brothers, and then going to the beach as a family as a kid. But there's 2 things I also could have put in there. Trick-or-treating on Halloween and shooting hoops all day. And Halloween is one of the great memories I have as a kid, especially up to the age of about 10, 11, 12. I just have great memories of this day. And what I realized yesterday when I was carving pumpkins with the girls, really one of the great parts about being a parent is just getting to do the things you enjoyed doing as a kid. That's like it,
Yeah.
It's like, I like doing this as a kid. Great. Now I have a reason to do it because I didn't carve pumpkins in my 20s, okay?
Well, when you get over 50, you don't even need that. You don't need a grandkid or anything. You just get the second or third child.
You just start doing whatever you want. But at least at this age.
No, that's cool. It's like you say, you get to live vicariously again.
Yes, exactly.
Pass it on the tradition.
It's one of the great things about having kids. You get to do what you enjoyed doing as a kid, and you have an excuse to do it, right? So, I'm glad that these kids have somewhere to go, but it was disheartening to read the story about how Kansas City is apparently one of the least safe cities in the country to go trick-or-treating, according to FBI data.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if Wallet Hub was busy again or not.
No, this was not Wallet Hub. This was, those Wallet Hub
anybody
polls.
can do a survey and come up with something, right? And you understand, we understand the crime rate in the metro area here, so that's sort of an overlying factor, right? Let alone the crappy sidewalks.
Yeah. This was just a combination of FBI crime reports, sex offender databases, fatality analysis reporting, and then also pedestrian safety.
Which we've had a rash of pedestrian accidents here recently.
We have. Now, speaking of polls, the Associated Press has this new poll out. They dropped yesterday. What are people doing on Halloween? About 2/3 of U.S. adults will celebrate Halloween in some way this year, with parents of kids under 18 especially likely to have plans, according to a new poll from the AP. Many parents celebrate Halloween with their kids. The percent who plan to do each of the following to celebrate Halloween. 55% of parents will take their kids trick-or-treating. 54% dress their children in costumes. 40% carve a pumpkin. 40% display Halloween decorations. 36% watch a scary movie. 35% wear a costume. 33% pass out candy to kids. Now, the number is obviously much lower in each of these for non-parents, which once again brings me back to my point of becoming a parent just gives you an excuse to, in many ways, be a big kid again, which is great. I think it's fantastic. It keeps you young. Because if you're not a parent, and I'm not knocking anyone who isn't, I'm just saying you don't get to do these things again and live vicariously through your kids in a good and a healthy way. Not in a negative way, not in an overbearing way, but in a healthy way. It can be a lot of fun. So, Mark, what are you going to be today when you take the kids out trick-or-treating? I have not asked you this yet all week. What's on the agenda?
Yeah, I'm just kind of the lame costume this year. I'm super Chiefs fan.
What?
So I'm just going to wear my big Chiefs coat, have a fun Chiefs hat on, and
what happened? Well, you're like the king of creativity around the holidays. What's going on with you?
I didn't have anything this year.
What
so
are the kids?
Something I have. I didn't want to buy anything.
Well, I agree with you on there. What did the kids decide?
All right, Isley, she's about 2 now. She's going to be a dinosaur.
Okay, classic.
Riley, she's going to be, what was it? Glinda from Wicked.
Okay.
So princess, basically.
Nice.
And then Brielle's just kind of a grunge.
Well, she's getting older, right?
Yeah, she's kind of just a grunge person.
Yeah, she's getting a little older. So what is she, 12 now?
Yep.
Okay. 13, yeah, okay. All right,
so
yeah.
She'll kind of help with Isley.
She'll help with the little one. I get it. She's getting to that age. That makes sense. All right. So that's
classic. I worked with a woman whose kid wanted to be a vacuum cleaner. Her birthday, so he put a box on him and get out the attachments and just hooked him up. You know?
Oh, gee.
About that. That's an easy costume to put together.
Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, my goodness. All right. So John's the skeleton. Mark is the Chiefs super fan. And then I'll be the cowboy walking around tonight. Not the naked cowboy from Times Square. I'm not doing that. Just a regular old cowboy, and the girls are all going to be cowgirls. So we got it all broken out tonight. It's going to be a good time. I didn't even know it was coming. I went to sleep last night. I'm like, whoo, great day for the president. You got the airline CEOs out there at the White House telling the Democrats to reopen the government, vote for the clean CR. And then the freaks came out on social media, and the president tweeted out or posted on Truth, let's just open up the government, nuke the filibuster, 51 votes, forget trying to get to 60, forget the Democrats. And I was like, no, don't do it. You stepped on your own you-know-what here. Don't, no. It's okay. It happens. But they're close. I really believe that Republicans are very close to winning this thing. When the Teamsters president, Sean O'Brien, is out there saying to Dems, vote for this thing, it's trending in the right direction. Here was Sean O'Brien at the White House, the Teamsters Union president, yesterday.
Took a position. I represent 1.3 million working men and women in this country for the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. We took a position 3 weeks ago. Pass a clean CR, get to the table, negotiate a deal. Do not put working people in the middle of a problem they should not be in there. And we got to think about the families that are going to be affected. Think about when you have to tell your son or daughter they can't play sports because you're not getting paid. Think about when you can't pay your mortgage. Think about when you can't pay your tuition. Put the politics aside, get to the table, negotiate a deal, pass a clean CR right now, and then figure out the problems moving forward. And I want to thank the air traffic controllers. I want to thank the aviation administration for all their hard work and sacrifice they make. And look, security and safety of the airlines is paramount. Let's not compromise the safety and security. Pass a clean CR. Thank you.
All right, that was Teamsters President Sean O'Brien. Also pressuring Democrats to just vote for what's on the table, a clean, continuing resolution to reopen the government. On the text line, 913-408-7957. Pete, I don't think Trump is serious about the filibuster. He just might be giving the mainstream media another shiny object. Yeah, but why would you give the media a shiny object when you literally had a great day yesterday with airline CEOs coming out and saying, Dems, end the shutdown. Vote to reopen the government. Why would you give them a shiny object? Because now the headline at CNN.com, Trump calls on GOP to abolish filibuster to end the shutdown. NBC News, Trump calls for Senate Republicans to scrap the filibuster rule and end the shutdown. They're getting to talk about this now instead of what actually happened yesterday at the White House, which was apolitical people. I mean, the United Airlines CEO is like, I don't care about the politics, but I know what needs to happen right now, and that is reopen the government, get this thing to 60 votes, and debate all your health care stuff once the government's opened back up. 913-408-7957. Let's go to Jonathan. He's in Kansas City first up. Jonathan, good morning.
Hey, Pete. I agree with you. I think long-term this would be very bad for Republicans, very bad for the country, very bad for people, very bad for the Senate. The Senate, George Washington said it was the deliberative body, the tea that, or the cup that cools the tea. And I think the Senate should stay that way, and we've bastardized the Senate. They used to be elected by state legislators. We took that away, and I think it made the Senate worse. And I just think the Senate should always be better than the House, and it shouldn't degrade like the House has. And it could if we get rid of the filibuster, because then we'll have single-payer health care, hack the Supreme Court, new states for D.C. and Puerto Rico. I mean, the list is endless. And just think, as bad as Biden was, he wasn't able to do more only because of the filibuster. Think about how much worse the spending and the inflation and the authoritarianism and the nonsense would have been if he had been able to get even more done, which could be on the table if they nuke it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Mike Thompson, when he was filling in for Keatsman last week, brought up the 17th Amendment, which, of course, makes it so the U.S. Senate is now elected by members of course, the people. 17th Amendment is now, of course, allowing people to elect the U.S. Senate. So I get that. I understand we want our votes, but it used to be the state legislature would do it. That's what was always, unfortunately, how it used to be. Kerry and Tonganoxie, go ahead.
Good morning. I would think that, moreover, what's going on is it's a typical Trump ploy that if he does this or threatens to do this, then the Democrats are going to look at this and go, oh, no, they're going to win because they're going to look good for saving the country. And maybe we should go ahead and step up and say, well, we did it.
Interesting theory there, Kerry. That's certainly possible where suddenly they are fearful that Trump may look like the good guy here. But that's always been possible, right? So why would they suddenly be scared of it right now?
Well, because they're going to look bad, I believe. And that's the big fighting point on their end is that they have said it was the Republican issue, and then all of a sudden the Republicans are going to cure it. Well, hey, you won't do it. We're going to do it. And I just think that's what he's doing. And we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Kerry. Thank you, my man. I think it's more powerful in terms of twisting Democrats' arms here to have apolitical business leaders coming out and saying, you know what? I'm sick of it. And that's what happened yesterday. I think that's more powerful than some Trump tweet, because if it becomes about Trump, then everyone loses their minds. Like, no one in D.C. is level-headed when it comes to responding to Trump. They might be when it comes to business leaders. And that's what was happening yesterday with union honchos and airline executives saying, Dem, stop. Reopen the government. Okay, your charade is over. You had your little No Kings rally. People are getting hurt here. And that, to me, is more powerful than anything involving what Trump could threaten to do or not do. Jeff in Kansas City, you're next up. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, good morning. I think it's time that we eliminate the filibuster, go nuclear. And I know the argument of, well, when the Dems get in power, they're going to use the same thing. But at the same time, that's what's going to push more thought into who we elect, because we no longer have this leverage. And, every time this happens, it's always the fear game. What if and what if? If that wasn't there, I think in 4 years, if we don't like what we have, we go out and we vote our conscience and vote the people in and undo whatever those people do. The government, was designed to be ineffective at the absence of a majority, and that's the whole point of it.
Yeah, but you're kind of talking yourself out of your own argument here. And let me explain what I mean. The government was built to be ineffective and move slowly. You're right about that. I mean, that was the point of it, and that was the premise. If you now nuke the filibuster and you just need 51 votes to do anything in the U.S. Senate. And Democrats get power, and Puerto Rico's a state, and then, D.C.'s a state, and then it flips the other way, and suddenly Republicans do what? They take away statehood for D.C., they take away statehood for Puerto Rico, and then you got a total mess on your hands where you think things change quickly now via executive order and reconciliation. Just wait until it's 51 supermajorities in the Senate, and this country's swinging all over the place, man.
But that's when people realize, that's my point, when people realize that's how the machine works, then their vote isn't just swayed by sound bites and, what feels good. I think it's a more mature aspect and then of holding each other hostage every 4 years. It's a better negotiation platform. When there's consequences that are there.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But both sides of the aisle already use that. I mean, every time people are voting now, it's the most important election of our lives. We're all going to die. I mean, they both use that already, even though it really isn't true. So I don't see a scenario where suddenly we go nuclear, 51 votes in the Senate can really get anything done if you have the House and the White House as well. And then suddenly the average voter wakes up to what's going on. I don't have a lot of confidence in that being the case. 913-408-7957. Where am I going next, John? Paul in Kansas City. What's up, Paul?
Hey, Pete, a couple of points. I think what Trump's post, what he was trying to tell the American people was, hey, look, I'm going to let these kids down here handle it. But if I get involved as a dad, I'm going to bring hell down on them. I'm going to ground both of them. I think that's what he's saying. He's saying, look, you better fix it because if I get involved, I'm going to ground both of you. Second point is, I think with the CEOs is good, but I think I'm watching CNN, watching Tapper and this lady this morning take these Democrats to the woodshed saying, hey, wait a minute, just open the thing. And Adam Smith, the Democrat in Washington, he's bumbling and stumbling. And then the last point I'll make, Pete, is the 66-page document that Schumer dropped saying these are the demands we want. We want money for Iraq, Sesame Street. We want NPR and all these other things. We want to roll back the big, beautiful bill, no taxes on social. That's what they want. And nobody's talking about that 66-page document. That's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
No. And, you can't have these people holding the whole country hostage because they lost an election and now aren't getting what they want. Stephen Overbrook. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, I'll be quick, man. Okay, so if they can do away with the filibuster, make it just a 51 vote majority, why don't we just do away with the filibuster and the Republicans and conservatives, and they push their entire agenda through, and then right before it's time for maybe the other party to take power, just reinstate the filibuster. Because it'll only take a simple majority to do it.
Yeah.
I just fixed the whole damn government.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, but then Democrats get power, and they'll blow up the filibuster, and then around and around we go. That's actually pretty brilliant from Steve. You want to talk about 3D chess? That's Stephen Overbrook right there, my man. That's outstanding.
I thought it wouldn't work. If then he brings up the point, it would only be 51 votes to do. And I'm like, oh, yeah, bingo.
All right, Scott and Olathe, go ahead, man.
Pete, what's up, brother? Hey, man, I'm kind of older now, a little grumpy, tired. I can't remember nothing, so help me out here. Last time we instated this nuclear option, wasn't Harry Reid still in charge of the House? I'm sorry.
Yes, the Senate. Yes, Harry Reid. Yes. Harry Reid, rest in peace. The former Senate Majority Leader from Nevada nuked the filibuster for judicial nominees during Obama's time in the White House. Mitch McConnell said to Harry Reid, "Don't do this. You're going to regret it." Harry Reid did regret it when Trump was in office the first time around. And because of the precedent set by Democrats, Republicans got 3 members of the Supreme Court on without the 60-vote threshold. But that was only for judicial nominees. It had nothing to do with, of course, legislation. So that's where it was different. It was exclusive and unfortunately still is exclusive because and for judicial nominees because of the precedent set by Harry Reid and the Democrats during the Obama years. Last up, got a minute. Victor in Parkville, what's up, my man?
Good morning, Pete. Always a great topic. You know, the thing is, you people, the founders are smarter than anybody else around today. So there's this thing called separation of powers we touched on yesterday, and also they wanted to make it difficult for the government to move slowly to encumbrance the citizenry. That's why they made it hard for legislation to pass. Now, we used to have an educated electorate. Now we've got a bunch of idiots out there voting, especially people 18 to 25. Now, I think Trump is doing this to prove he is not a king, because I think the Senate and Thune are going to stand up and say, no, we're not going to do it. So I think he's kind of planned it. He's trolling the Democrats. That's my opinion.
Okay. Well, I would disagree, too, on the idea that 18 to 25 is the dumbest voter block. That might have been the case 20 years ago, but listen, 65 plus is getting pretty stupid, too.
Seemingly, I'll have to say.
Look at the No Kings protests, okay? I mean, 18 to 25 is swinging pretty hard to the right, Victor. Don't knock the young folks right now. You got to talk to your contemporaries. I look at the No Kings protest. You know, this morning I was driving in, and I'm on 435. And, you know, it's pitch black out, so I can't see the driver. But I'm behind a car in the right lane on 435 about to get off here to the station. And they had a bumper sticker that said the hippies were right about everything. And I'm like, it's too early for me to get this pissed.
I'm getting pissed now.
But I couldn't help but be like, right about what? Right, literally, what were the hippies right about? Anything? Anything, John. I mean, I couldn't think of, I could
write a book, Pete.
I sat there the rest of the drive to work thinking about what they might have been right on. And I couldn't figure out anything that they were right on.
I'm hard-pressed at the moment.
Okay.
I'll work on it.
Please, during the commercial break, work on it. Maybe someone can text in or tell me what the hippies were right on, because I couldn't figure it out. They're the same ones who are, you know, most filled with TDS right now, too. Look at the protests. Coming up, if you are a subscriber to a certain TV network, you might be out of luck ahead of a big weekend. I'll explain next. If you have a YouTube TV, you will notice this morning that you do not have any Disney channels. That means ESPN platforms and ABC. Disney has suspended its content on YouTube TV, pulling ESPN channels and ABC after the companies failed to reach a new contractual agreement. So last night, YouTube TV said in a statement, despite our best efforts, we have not been able to reach a fair deal. And starting today, Disney programming will not be available on YouTube TV. Now, on the other side, you've got ESPN using its personalities in the middle of football season to say, hey, make sure you go to our website and tell YouTube TV that you want ESPN. Here is Stephen A. Smith.
If you're a YouTube TV customer, you may lose access to NFL and NBA games on ESPN and ABC. Visit keepmynetworks.com for more information.
I am on the side of YouTube TV here, because here's what's going on. ESPN wants people to buy its streaming subscription, which is like $30 a month. For Disney Plus, all the ESPN channels, ESPN Plus, that is what they want you to go get. It's $30 a month. That's a lot of money. There's not a subscription service out there that I know of that's asking for $30 a month. And if they can't get you to sign up for their subscription service, they will basically hold these networks hostage like YouTube TV and say, fine, then you give us an extra $10 a month per user to make up for the fact that people are not coming to our original platforms. That's what's going on behind the scenes here. And that's why when the whole streaming thing started off 5-10 years ago, everyone was like, this is great. I'm not going to have a cable bundle anymore. Suddenly the cable bundle's not looking so bad, is it?
Well, no, you got to do it yourself now, see?
I know, and you're going to end up paying more money.
Yeah. Well, I am a little choosier with mine, right? I don't have anything.
Well,
yeah, about that.
You also don't have any social media.
Right. Who needs it? I got along without it. Write notes.
That's fair.
Call a phone, drive a clutch. I can get places.
So this is really about ESPN trying to get people to sign up for their big Disney Plus, ESPN Plus platform. That's what this is really about.
I hope it's FAFO, because I don't know if people value the content. Certainly not at $30 a month.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
You get fewer and fewer games, and they're on Plus and it would be great if they were on ESPN.
Yeah.
Games are everywhere else.
Well, this would give you access to everything.
You would get them, but you're hunting them down, right?
That's
why
true.
they say that's why it's $30.
Yeah, exactly. Mark?
Yeah, I think they're also trying to get you over to Hulu TV, because Hulu is connected with Disney and ESPN.
Oh, is Hulu part of that umbrella?
Yeah.
It was. Interesting. Well, I got YouTube TV when I first got to Kansas City 8 years ago.
I remember you being a fan of it.
It was $40. It's doubled. It's not a deal anymore. And it's not necessarily their fault, because they're getting ESPN saying, hey, you got to pay us more every time they come up for renegotiation. And that ends up screwing the consumer here, because ESPN is getting its clock cleaned financially. They are in a very bad spot because they spend too much money on all these live sports. They got to figure out how to make the money back. It can't just be through advertising dollars. And that's what ends up being a loss for everybody here. So I'm team YouTube TV, but you might not get some of the college football this weekend if they don't come to a conclusion sooner rather than later. Well, last night, the President of the United States announced on his Truth Social that he wants to see Republicans nuke the filibuster and reopen the government with a simple majority, 51 votes instead of the 60, which, of course, they have not been able to get to. I think it's a bad idea. I would not play that game with the Dems, because they are licking their chops at the idea of getting power back one day, loading up the Supreme Court, creating more states, creating more senators. I wouldn't do it.
This is like a Mark Twain novel where you get somebody to paint the fence for you because you tell them it's so much fun. You should be doing it, right? You're going to get them to do it for you.
Yeah.
That's even sillier.
That's what's going to happen here. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, goes on Fox News this morning and says he has the president's back. Here was Mike Johnson.
Post last night about the filibuster. We just want this to end. They do not deny that the Democrats themselves, that they are prolonging this pain. They admit to it. They said they're using it as leverage. The big question everybody needs to ask this morning is why. They're trying to appeal to the radical left Marxist rise in their party. That is sum total what this entire thing is about. And it is infuriating to us.
I think it's also Trump derangement syndrome. They don't want to give y'all anything. How much weight do these four airlines have on their decisions, on the Democrats' decisions? I'm sure they have lobbyists that are talking to them saying, y'all need to just sign this clean CR.
Yeah, it's the airlines. It's also the unions. The largest federal employee union, as y'all have reported, came out a couple days ago and said, please pass the clean CR. They represent 820,000 federal employees. That's supposed to be a constituency, the unions that the Democrats claim as their own. Look, you have more unions coming out. You had the head of the Teamsters out there.
So that was Mike Johnson on Fox and Friends. I actually disagree with something that Ansley Earhart said there. I assume that was her when she said the Democrats don't want to give you anything. Republicans aren't asking for anything. It's not like they jammed a bunch of pork into this continuing resolution and then said, pass this bill. They're not asking for anything. They're just trying to keep the government open at its current spending levels, and that's it. It's not like they jammed a bunch of their own priorities into this as part of this continuing resolution bill and then said, oh, yeah, we're going to throw this other stuff in there, too. Then the Democrats would have a right to be pissed. They would have a right to be bothered. That's not what happened here. So Ansley's wrong when she frames it that way. Oh, they just don't want to give you anything. They're not asking for anything, Ansley. There's nothing that they're asking for here, with all due respect. So stop making it about like Republicans want something. They just want to literally keep the government open and then debate all the other stuff that Democrats want to debate in the weeks to come. That's it. And both sides of the aisle have done that when they've been out of power. That's not what's going on here. But Mike Johnson, I understand he's in a tough spot here. And his tough spot is that he's got to figure out a way to obviously appease the president. He doesn't want to come out this morning and basically, as the leader in the House, be like, yeah, that was a dumb Truth Social post. But it was last night, because that's not the answer. You've got him against the ropes. I really think that after yesterday's press conference in the White House, which included the United Airlines CEO, you had the Teamsters president, you had the Delta CEO put out a statement, all basically saying to the Democrats, open up the darn government. You've got them up against the ropes. You've got them where I think you want them. And then Trump in the background, Leroy! Like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. No. John, go ahead. You're on KCMO.
Hey, good morning. Every time the Democrats have changed the rules, it seems to have backfired on them. And if we go and change the rules in the Senate to get rid of the filibuster, it's going to backfire on us big time. And they're just waiting for us to do it, to push the nuclear options so they can say, well, you did it, and then shove it back down our throats. And
Bingo.
Then our republic is truly lost.
Bingo.
And the fact is, yesterday I was calling all of our senators and as many people as I could, trying to push that idea of restoring the Food Stamps Act, and then saying pay the military, restore the food stamps for 6 months, and pay the military, pay the civil workers, and then on the end of it, to give it teeth, say Obamacare, at pre-COVID levels, we're going back to that, and put teeth in it, and make the headlines that restoring the Food Stamps Act, and then they say, well, with the health care, well, people that are hungry won't care about other people's health care, but they will care about their own food. And they can also pivot and say, well, we want to pay the military and other people that need their pay because the holidays are coming. We got to have a heart, and the Democrats have no heart. And that we could be sitting there slam dunk.
I got it, John. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. I'm trying to follow along here. But your first point was the best point. Your first point that if the Republicans nuke the filibuster on the back end, Democrats will go out there and use it against them is absolutely true. And they will be able to point the finger and say, hey, these guys did it. And my goodness, if you're actually going to ever nuke the filibuster one day, do it for something that actually gets you a lot, not just a clean continuing resolution. I mean, if there's ever a time to nuke the filibuster, and I'm not a fan of it, but you do it for something big and massive, not literally just reopening the government at its current spending levels. And I don't want anyone to do it, but if you do it, you do it big. You don't do it over something like this. Then there's Sharice Davids back here in Kansas, 3rd Congressional District. I'm really getting tired of the dog and pony show that Sharice Davids is putting on here locally. And I know she's not going to come on this show, but my goodness, she has done some local TV in the last few weeks, and she knows that the local TV stations are safe places for her. She's going around posting all these social media videos about the politicians have to make sure that they come together and it's time to reopen the government. You know, Sharice Davids didn't vote for the continuing resolution. She literally voted against opening up the government when she voted on this back in mid-September. And now she's got the audacity, because no one else locally is going to say this, to post videos like this every day saying, people need to come together and vote to reopen the government.
This is a real pay stub that an air traffic controller in Kansas texted me. $0. These men and women keep our skies safe every single day. They guide thousands of flights, protect millions of passengers, and right now they're doing it without pay. They're overworked, understaffed, and now they're being asked to do it for free, all because politicians in Washington can't be adults and come to the negotiating table. That's unacceptable. I'm fighting to reopen the government and make sure that every worker gets the paycheck that they've earned, because our safety and their livelihoods are on the line.
Ma'am?
That's Rep. Davids to you.
Sorry. Thank you for the correction.
This is a Wendy's.
Yeah. That's where she should be working, frankly. If you had your way, this bill that opens up the government would not have passed the House. It's at least passed the House. It just hasn't passed the Senate. Because in the House, it just needs a simple majority. Sharice Davids voted against the bill to reopen the government. Now, it passed the House because the Republicans didn't need her vote. But this whole dog and pony show, which is all it is from Sharice Davids, every day on social media putting out a new video, trying to ride the fence. Politicians got to put, the people first. You voted against the bill. I know I can't get her on, but next time she's doing fluff local TV news, is someone else going to point this out to her?
Maybe the most shocking thing in that was there was no jump cuts.
Well, that's true. I think they got the message after I called out her account for having 8 jump cuts, which is when you see a video and it like splices it together. She had 8 jump cuts in a 58-second clip. I mean, that's embarrassing. That's like Biden-esque is what that is. Come on, man. She at least did this 36-second clip without any jump cuts. I think her team got the message. Because that thing that I posted the other day went viral when she had 8 jump cuts in a 58-second clip. My goodness. I'm not looking for a pat on the back here, but we're doing 4 hours a day, and there are 0 jump cuts in the show. None. Not a single jump cut. It's all live. It's not always perfect, but there's not a single jump cut in 4 hours of this talk show. Sharice had 8 in 58 seconds. That's embarrassing. And it's just as embarrassing that local Kansas City media is not willing to point this out to her, or at least to their readers and viewers, that every time they show one of these videos from her social media page the last month or so, as she insists that she wants the government back open, she voted against the continuing resolution that is on the table right now to reopen the government. She voted against it. It's crazy she's getting away with this, but it also, maybe it isn't all that crazy. Maybe it's not surprising based on the coverage that you get in this town. And that's why we keep kicking butt.
She continually likes to portray herself as above it or a separate from it, and yet what is she, a 97% voter with the liberal side or the Dems?
I don't know what the number
like
is.
That. Yeah, it's pretty high.
It's high, though.
She seldom goes against it.
It seems like it.
And this could have been one where she could have voted with the Republicans, looked good because they weren't going to win anyway.
Yeah.
She didn't take it that advantage.
She could have. She didn't do it.